We are now live.
What up?
Okay. Follow.
Okay.
That's...
I'm at like a weird angle, so mine's gonna take a little longer. How is everybody? Thanks for jumping back on. We're gonna do a quick.
Okay, guys, we're just typing something out.
Did I get that right? Okay. Boom. Because all of you guys.
Hey, guys.
Who know,
I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever.
I know. Wait, why can't I do this? Ah, there we go.
Hello, Keeks.
Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to Soul Circle.
Welcome to another episode. Namaste.
It always feels like we jump on the starship when you show up.
I know, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. We all got our own starships.
We're gonna move between realities today.
We're gonna
sort through some issues.
We sort through some issues.
All right, so why don't we start?
Who's got the first issue?
Who's got the first issue? Why don't we start over on your side?
Okay. Well, I feel like because on my side.
Love you too. Okay, we can find one here. Does anyone have a really good question for us?
What's up, Sadie? Girl, you're such a solid A-lister. I love you. You both have the prettiest eyes.
That's very nice.
That's very nice. Thank you. Rad. I can't read.
Someone's asking to define the higher self.
Oh.
I will. Why don't I preface by saying,
I think you should lay the.
Your higher self is always vibrating above you. Your higher self is the part of you that couldn't fit in your body because your body would have short wired.
It's too much. It's too fast.
It's too much.
It's too big. It's too high.
So the thing is, your higher self is on the other side of the veil, and it's your inner and higher guidance. And it's the all-knowing self, the omniscient self.
Yes.
And it is your internal GPS.
It's the thing whipping you into spiritual shape.
It's your exactly. It's your internal personal trainer.
Ooh.
Working on your spiritual stamina. All right. Mm-hmm. So your higher self is
it's that sometimes not so subtle voice.
Exactly.
Not to be confused with the ego, but that yeah.
So and a lot of this journey is about ascending into spiraling upward and unifying with your higher self.
Yep.
And then the higher self has to then descend back into the body as you. So you become the higher self in time. It's no longer about I'm channeling my higher self. You start to embody all aspects of who you are.
Love that. Okay, so I'm gonna put the cup down for this one.
I got you.
Thanks, boo. So I like how you said through your lifetime you end up embodying your higher self. There's a term, at least that I learned, called being braided, right? Sometimes through a near death or through whatever significant event, you can actually open up that doorway and have your next highest version of yourself braided and integrated into your personal DNA, right? Upgrading blueprints and emotional codes and all that fun stuff. But the best way that I like to explain this, right? I'll do a little shout out to my meditation class because I call it a higher heart mind coherence. And it's literally aligning with the higher self, where it's like this. Imagine that there's a being that's twice your size, right? And if you put your hands all the way above your head and cup them like this, so that then it's like you're cupping the chin of your higher self, which then that means that the heart, the higher mind of your higher self is the one that's think the third eye of you, right? But using the third eye, when you can connect with your higher self, using the third eye of your higher self to then be your director, right? Then when you come down, your third eye is actually in alignment. If they were standing behind you, right, or through you, your third eye is then the heart of your higher self, which then, going down even further, your heart is then the sacral chakra, which is your willpower. So if your heart then becomes in alignment with the will, the sacral chakra of your higher self. So whenever we're manifesting something or channeling in that inspiration for either our deepest passion and purpose that we're here for, or creating something new, or just whatever path that we're meant to be on, right? The goal is to connect with that higher self so that then whatever you feel in your heart, you know that that's the will of that fire, that drive is coming from your higher self. Your third eye and your intuition is coming from then the passion and the heart of your higher self. And their third eye, which is you, is the sort of navigation, directing system.
And in order to open your higher mind consciousness, you have to have an open heart.
Yeah.
So the second you open your heart, all this stuff is going to come up to be moved out of the body, and all that. But
that's why we like align the chakras. If you
right.
have blocked chakras, then how is the energy of your higher self going to come in and be in alignment with your physical body?
And I also like to think of it as we function from that higher self perception.
Yeah.
You have to pull every limb out of the third dimension. Every part of you that's still stuck in an old limiting belief system, every part of you that's still anchored into a lower dimension is going to get pulled out of those lower dimensions by you as your higher self by assuming that perception.
What do you mean limb?
You have to almost imagine that people are, whenever you're struggling with something, you're kind of like in a war zone. And your higher self has to swoop in and help carry you and transport you out of that war zone. And sometimes you may be really strong in one area, but really weak in another. And that part where you're not seeing, right? The things that we can't access from within, the things that we can't see from within, your higher self is going to come in, but you have to function from that higher self reality in order to coherently operate and catapult yourself out of that lower dimension.
Yeah.
But
and
the higher
that's
self
where trust comes in, though. Because if you're not trusting, and we say trusting in spirit, but trusting in spirit is like saying your alignment with your higher self in coherence with the ultimate greater collective, the streaming through your higher self into you. That's what trusting in spirit really is, which is trusting in yourself.
And so when you're confused in life, when you're stuck, when you're anxious, or whatever it is, whatever negative emotional response you have towards life, that's a part of you, it's an aspect of you that's afraid to move into that higher reality, into that higher vibrational dimension, and so that's where you have to grab your higher self's hand and say, I can't see what's on the other side of this, but I'm going to trust you now, and I'm going to allow you to transport me into that higher level. We usually are the ones that are resisting change. We are usually the ones who object to things getting better. And that's because we've been programmed to live in lack. We've been programmed to live in all that fear stuff that keep us spiritually blind, that keep our third eye closed. Right. And so your third eye is closed as long as you contract your heart.
Right.
When you open your heart, your third eye starts to open.
And you contract your heart and your third eye with fear.
Yes.
But it's kind of, so like, I like to say it like this, like consider that if you're going to, any goal that you have, any passion or anything that you're like, okay, I would like to achieve this, right? And you set that future vision, every single time you can guarantee that fear is going to come up. And I'm not saying that to like be negative about it, but it's like the more that then you can just get comfortable with the realness of a fear or a feeling, false evidence appearing real,
which is really just programming that's held in your body, in the cellular structures of your body.
Yes, which you can reprogram, right? And you can reprogram it from your DNA and your emotional coding.
You can remap your thought patterns. You can open up new neural networks. You can do all of that stuff.
Yep. And that's the goal, to then move you through. Like, you have to repattern all that stuff in order to then release the fear in order to move through, right? But then if we're in a space of fearing fear itself, then we're not even going to allow ourselves to get to that place of saying, okay, what resources, how do I create, or what support do I need to then moving through and repatterning those fears. So if you can just be in acceptance of, all right, fear's coming up, cool. I'm afraid.
Totally.
Now, what do I do about it? Now, how do I move through that? What support do I need? Blah, blah, blah.
Your higher self is your ascended version of who you are. It's the expanded version of who you are, who can access the overview of everything. It has access to multiple dimensions, everything. All right? Now, your physical, it knows better than you. Like, it is everything you need. And
you should trust it.
You should trust it. So your higher self needs to bring your physical body through, because you're taking your body with you. Yep. So your physical body has to go through the ascension process. It has to come through the veils of amnesia, because the veil is really just amnesia. It's our memory that's been wiped. It is, and the veil is representative of all the fears that we hold, all of this. There isn't really a veil. It's there because it's the programming that's held in your body that then transmits out a limitation.
Perceive a veil.
And so to remove those blinders, right, we have to start going within. Yep. And whenever a fear comes in, or whenever a fear comes online, a judgment comes online, you have to go within yourself and break that programming down. And because as you do that, you're going to drop density that's in your body, and you're going to allow for your body to then come through over to the other side, to the fifth dimension, to the sixth and above, where your higher self lies, and then you start to become the higher self. I like that. And the embodiment process really just means that your higher self makes a descent into your body, and you become it.
Yeah. I just saw a really interesting question on yours that I think is important to address. Somebody said, Somebody said, how does your higher self, if you're twins, basically. Yeah, how does your higher self connect when you're twins? So I'm assuming that, like, you're a twin, right? You have a brother or a sister that's a twin. First, I would say that connecting with your higher self is your ultimate twin, right? And so then if you've happened to incarnate with then another, or a twin self, right? In this density, to think that your higher self would be limited to then connecting to two versions as opposed to just connecting to one would be like saying that all of us wouldn't have a higher self, because in all honesty, we could all be considered twins of each other energetically, and those, the higher self energy is connecting individually with you and then individually with your twin, right? Just like it's connecting individually, like my higher self is connecting individually with me. So it doesn't mean that it's one higher self that
for
then
two
is
twins.
Yeah, for
you
two
have
twins.
Your own higher self.
Yeah. Like the higher self gets split as many times as there are people.
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. So I've never been asked that question before. You have a twin and you guys are connected, but you also
that's the game that you guys chose. That's the game you guys chose to play in this reality.
Yeah,
is to experience that. What would it be like to have a twin? What would it be like to have that connection or those challenges sometimes, right? So that's just another design of your game that you created, that your higher self created.
And just like you guys have synchronicity together as the either brother, sister, brothers, sisters, whatever, then your two higher selves have synchronicities as well.
We're coming back to our higher selves every day. So my new thing is we're not really learning, we're remembering. We're not really learning lessons, we're remembering who we are. And so every day when you wake up and you dedicate yourself to bettering yourself, to increasing your vibrational frequency, to being the best version of who you are, you're coming back to your higher self. And
that's the ultimate goal.
Yes. And we'll get to the place where we don't need to channel anymore because we are the embodiment of that.
Or it's like a continual flow.
Yes.
It's like turning on the radio station and having that station play all the time, as opposed to thinking that it's separate from you and that you have to turn on the radio when you're at home only or when you're in your car only, versus just having the song playing in your head the whole time.
The entire universe, all of the galaxies are inside of you. So I've been playing with this new vision this week.
We just remove the limitations of our connection to it.
Right. You know those those lamps that have the pull chains? Yes. So I go in to myself and I activate realities. And I pull the chain, activated, activated. And what happens is all of us have the universe.
You see the different realities and
and I activate them and I bring myself back into the body and I wait for the reality to materialize.
Such a starseed.
All right, so we do that. We activate the reality, consider it achieved, consider it done, bring yourself back into the body and wait for it to unravel, wait for it to materialize. But when you start to become the higher self, you have access to the entire cosmos within you.
Yeah.
Because you're igniting all of those divine realities within.
Like, think about, I love that you said that.
Oh, and one more thing.
Go ahead.
I did a YouTube video last week where I talked about, like, years ago, I went to bed. This is when I wasn't working. I was just exploring frequency, right? I went to bed, and then I was like...
Playing with dimensions.
I was, and I went to bed, and I said Pleiades, and this part of my brain started vibrating. And then I said Orion, and a different part started vibrating. And I went to Arcturus and Andromeda, all that. And I was like,
why he's
whoa.
my brother. He's such a galactic nerd.
And I was like, whoa, like the entire star systems, everything is in my brain. Everything is in my body.
Yeah.
So we start to merge with our higher selves when we drop the dense energies that are held in the body.
Yes.
And when you drop those dense energies, then you dial in new realities.
Yeah, and bring in play, right?
Yes.
So what he's kind of talking about, and this is something like you guys can all do, and just like, I invite you to play with it, right?
Yes.
And whatever conversation is coming up, like I call it the human mind, which is like well, that's stupid, or, oh, is that really working, or is that right? That's another limitation program, right? So just be aware of what conversation comes up as I invite you to try and close your eyes and create a, it's like see in your imagination a galactic, like, billboard. Like, or excuse me, dashboard, not billboard, dashboard, right? And it has all these different switches on it, like you're talking about, right? And so you can have different switches, you can have different, like he's pulling down the chain, and so you can have all these different things that do different actions,
functions,
answers to questions, like whatever, and start playing with like your own digital dashboard.
Yes. Oh, I love that. You're so good.
Galactic digital dashboard.
And you really are multidimensional. Like you can be, I'm a cobra on one dimension, I'm a wizard on a different dimension, and then I'm all these different things on different dimensions because they're
I'm
all these
seraphim
different.
on a different dimension.
Yeah, you are. You really are. She really is, actually. So what's happening is as you start to come into that expanded state of consciousness, you're able to hold more realities in place.
Yeah.
All right. And then you're having to constantly live in a way that honors every single one of those realities. No pieces can go out of place.
Consider though that the more realities that you come into alignment with, the more you're going to then be asked to release of old programs.
Absolutely. And the more responsibility.
The more responsibility
because you're holding realities is just another way of saying you're holding a lot of frequencies, different frequencies, and frequencies are just different dimensions. Yeah. And depending on which dimension you're vibrating at, you experience a different existence. Yeah. So dimensions really just means different frequency bandwidths. And then you can start to vibrate into those, and you have to hold them. It's kind of like going under the water and you have to hold your breath. You have to practice holding those higher states of consciousness all the time. That way your physical reality can come through. Your physical body can come through and join them in unison.
And then keeping your body, like, so it was funny because even on the last live, I was like, okay, relationship to body was the theme. And now we're talking about bringing in more energies. In order to bring more energies into the body, like you have to check in with the body. It's more than just grounding. We were talking before about grounding into the body, but it's like, make sure that your body can sustain the vibrations. Because if you're going to be requesting to bring in higher vibrations, higher frequencies, it's like listening to a musical note that's so high pitched, right? That then if like to a glass, right? Super high pitched sound that you can barely hear it will shatter a thin glass. So you have to make sure that your physical body is strong enough that then you can bring in those different vibrations. So if you're eating crappy foods, you know, I had talked about like heavy metals and all of that stuff, like you want to be able to remove all those things so that then your body can be strong enough on a physical level to actually bring in and anchor those
another
vibrations.
Big one is stop participating in those old realities. Those old realities of separation, of judgment, of fear.
Victim,
we have to leave
drama.
those behind. You have to leave those behind, really. So there was something else. Anyways, we can move on to the next.
I think we covered that. Did we cover that one?
I think we did.
Did we cover that?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, the last thing I was going to
quantum.
say, start connecting to the oneness of all things. Like, I went for a walking meditation yesterday, and I started hearing birds chirping away. That wasn't a coincidence. They were transferring light codes into my third eye. So what happens is you start to connect to the different frequencies. There are sounds everywhere. The wind is a frequency.
Yeah.
The birds chirping away is a frequency. And if you just open your heart and you say, I receive, universe, I receive, you will feel it actually enter your body, actually arrive into your reality and ignite different frequencies and realities within you.
That's why sound baths are so popular right now. I just did one the other day. It's like, because it's frequencies that then go into your biofield, activate and shift the energy within your biofield, so it's clearing out different things, right? Because if you have a dense vibration and you bring in a higher pitch vibration, it'll also cancel out the denser, or it'll merge together and bring it to a different vibration. Does that make sense?
It does. Okay. And just know, you guys, it's the whole be careful what you wish for. The second that you command your reality, that's my new thing this week. You have to command your reality. You have to instruct exactly what you want to arrive into your reality. That thing that you're asking for may not come overnight.
And it also may not come the way that your ego mind perceives it to come. But it could show up totally different.
Totally. But the second you ask for it, you get the ball rolling. So you set it in motion. Yeah. And all the lessons, all that programming that you're still holding in your body is going to start going through a process of purification.
Which means fear is going to come up. All of your negative beliefs and limiting beliefs that are keeping you from that next dimensional reality is going to show up, because it can't bring in the new reality unless you clear that stuff out. So you're going to make a request. It's going to bring you what you want, but then it's also going to bring you all the challenges, which is why everybody's like, why is all this crazy stuff happening? And it's like, it's showing up so that you can work through it because you asked to get to the next level.
Exactly. It's your spiritual boot camp.
Yeah.
So you ask for something, get ready to go to boot camp, and then just know that those higher frequencies are going to merge into your body, and they're like little snakes that go into every little corridor of your DNA, and they seek out anything that doesn't need to be there anymore. Right. So if you're feeling fear, celebrate it. That means there's movement there. That means you're clearing old
it
patterns.
Means stuff showing up for you.
Yes.
It's like a good signal.
It is.
That's a really great reframe. Anytime fear hits, you can guarantee that what you've been doing your best to manifest is like that close.
That's right.
From actually manifesting, because now you have to get through the fear in order to achieve that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is this inspiring though? Because I feel like I know I do, and like I want to just kind of give like a little love at the same time, because it does take work.
The main thing, it does take a lot of work.
But like, this is the mission that we've all kind of come down here for. Like, if you're like, okay, I'm a change leader, I'm a starseed, I'm a, like, whatever term you want to call it, that you feel like you have that passion, that you're here to shift something, be it as bold as change the freaking world, then like step into that, and it's not going to be easy. Like, we're not going to hear sugarcoat. It's not always fun.
This is the main thing.
Processing fear.
The main thing. Processing out fear. The main thing I want people to understand is that your physical reality that you experience every day correlates to your internal reality.
Yes.
All right? It's a representation, it's a reflection, it's a response to what's going on physically within you. Yeah. So in your body, there are all these programs that you hold.
Yep.
And then those get transmitted out, and that they get transmitted out into the hologram that is your physical reality. And then whatever's being reflected back to you either is held in your unconscious, subconscious, or conscious. If it feels good, it means you've lit that part of your brain up. Good job. If it doesn't feel good, you have to go inside and autocorrect. You have to go inside and play.
Shift it from not feeling good to feeling good.
Be a galactic chiropractor, okay? You go in, you make the adjustments. Now, as you start to break down all those old cellular structures that were very dense in your body, that hurts, because you're breaking down all this program that was keeping you enslaved to a certain reality. Yeah. Because you gave all your power away to that external reality. It's time to take your power back. It's time to recall that light in. Now, as these new multidimensional realities start to set in your body, what's going to happen is those are going to get transmitted out, and you're going to start experiencing heaven on earth. That's how it works. So don't look for the solution externally. Go within yourself every time you want to judge, every time you want to play the victim, every time you want to villainize. Go inside and find what it is that you need to tweak within your energetic template. And then that's going to start to radiate out. And that's the reality you're going to start experiencing.
The faster that you can shift it within you, right?
Yes.
And that like emotional mastery.
Yes.
Then the faster you can connect with the vibration that you actually are wanting to attract, that you say in your mind that you're wanting to attract. But if it's making you feel bad, like fear, right? Or saying, oh, this is hard or whatever, and we all do it. We're still human, right? So it's like you're going to not feel good for a second, but then it's up to you to then shift through something faster.
Yes.
So if you're like, okay, this doesn't feel good. Is that serving me right now? No, probably not. How can I move out of this?
Yes.
And it's literally a 2-second choice.
It is. It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's always a choice.
Yes.
That's where you have ultimate power in absolutely everything, because it's your choice. So
Yeah.
if you're not feeling good, it's because you're choosing to not feel good.
Or you have chosen to not feel good, and now it's coming back up so that you can be faced with a choice again.
Right.
It's like, you know how there's a 0 point field? It's the choice point field. It's coming back up so you can decide, am I leaving this reality behind?
Or am I catapulting myself into a new one?
Right.
Are you a rocket? Or a snail? Just saying.
Yes. And you'll find that you can transmute stuff really fast now. It doesn't take as long as we used to take, because when you become multidimensional, you can be aware of something, but it's not going to consume your entire energy field. It's not going to occupy that much space and that much storage that you can't flip it and reverse it. It's like boom, 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 transmute. I'm aware of this.
Thank you, Missy
and
Elliott.
I move between realities, and I shift in and out of realities that don't suit me anymore. It's that simple. But in the old programming, we thought that we had to remain there because there was a sense of obligation, because there was deep-seated fear. You don't have to remain anywhere where you don't feel comfortable.
You might think that you have an obligation to stay there because the programming that you've been running is telling you that that is your identity. And it's so deeply rooted in your DNA and your energetic and physical blueprint. That's what the rewriting of the blueprint does.
Right.
So rewriting your physical blueprint, your energetic blueprint, your emotional blueprint.
Are we back online, you guys? Because someone said that it... give hearts if we're online right now.
Did it freeze?
Hearts if you're online, if we're online.
We're just throwing a couple, galactic energies trying to get through Instagram. Maybe it's...
Exactly. Are you guys hearing us right now?
Got
Please
hearts on my
send
side.
hearts.
Got hearts on your side?
Okay, we got hearts on my side.
Okay, good.
It didn't pause on this end, so I don't know. Something's going on.
Did it pause on my end? Phil froze. There's on.
Okay. Are we on, you guys?
We're good. We're good.
Okay, we froze, but are we freezing now?
We always freeze whenever we start getting into super galactic
stuff.
energy stuff. Relationship to spirit. We're just trying to anchor these codes down, and we would really like some upgrades from Instagram to process these codes.
I think we're good. We're going to keep going.
I think we're good.
Okay, the hearts are back. Yay.
Yay. Awesome. Is that making sense? We're kind of going quantum again, but
we're going quantum because it's important.
Because it's important.
So,
and just to be...
Can I share one download I got this week? New Earth, all right? New Earth, there is no lack that exists there. There are no takers.
We have the new Earth here.
But think about it. It's already here. Yeah. Earth has already ascended.
Okay.
But in that new reality, there is no lack. There are no takers. So when you're living in fear, when you're living in judgment, there's still lack there. There's something that you're needing from an outside source so that you can feel full within or from within. And really on the new Earth, everyone's tapped in to the unlimited resources of energy that we have from within us. So there are no takers. You honor people, you tip them, you do this, you do that. And so whenever you're running fear, judgment, all that, know that there's still a part of you or a limb that's stuck in that old dimension.
Yes.
And you need to take it out and bring yourself up.
The goal is to get to the energy of joy. So even on the vibrational scale, like we all say, okay, the goal is to get to love, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And love is in the heart. Joy is at the crown, or the third eye and the crown. So if your goal is to get to that connection with your higher self, you got to go all the way to the crown.
Right.
So love, 100%, but to get to that space, that vibrational space of joy is what...
Okay, let's try with the... Okay, we're going to try with Verizon now.
Oh, were you on my thing?
I was on yours, yeah.
Okay.
We're on Verizon right now. Let us know if we're on.
Still watching on YouTube. Yeah, and we'll upload these.
We'll
and stuff
upload.
Too.
We just uploaded the Verizon. Am I back on, you guys?
Give hearts on Phil's side.
Okay, we're on. Okay.
We're good.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
All right, good. So we were... Did you guys catch what we said? Give hearts if you caught it, or give hearts if I'm back on now?
And either way, I think we have it on mine too, but...
Okay, good. All right.
Okay, awesome.
So,
They're like, sounds like Abraham Hicks. 100%! Like...
Well, it's not really Abraham Hicks. We don't study that stuff. What it is you're tuning your mind, you're synchronizing your mind to a higher consciousness, and that's all part of the vibrational soup of information. And so we're just receiving the ingredients.
Yeah, and consider that Esther and Abraham, right, is like what that team is doing, or what she's doing, is still then channeling the collective consciousness information.
Right.
So it's, I like how you say it's not even that it's Abraham Hicks, because it's not even about then her or that connection. It's about the energy and the information of where it's coming from.
And it's coming from a collective energy, meaning it's unity consciousness.
Yeah.
Whenever we ask what, why, where, who, when.
You can do it too.
and you guys, whenever you ask what, why, when, who, where, that's still linear. We don't live that way anymore. It's multidimensional. Yeah. So that's where you have to bring yourself and lift yourself into that higher dimensional reality where your higher self lies, and be like, wait, we don't ask that question. We control that stuff from up there. We don't say, oh, when is this going to happen? That's still fear driven.
If you were looking from above, totally. If you were looking... Like the majority of us are looking at our environment through these two eyes, right? The next goal is look at it through this eye. The ultimate goal is go to the eye, the third eye of your higher self, and look at your life and assess and change and shift from that vantage point.
Yes. Whenever you ask things like who, when, what, why, where, you're not in full trust with your universe. And I call it your universe now, because you're not. And so just remember... You have to wait for it, and as you wait for your thing to materialize, you have to go within yourself and gut out all that programming. You have to yank all that stuff out, the stuff that makes you ask those questions. That's the stuff that you have to yank out.
The stuff that makes you ask the questions of what the doubt and
the stuff that makes you ask the questions like, when is this going to happen? Why hasn't this happened?
That's coming from the lack and the fear and the ego space of thinking that it has to show up at a specific time.
Yes.
Versus like, enjoy the journey.
Yes. You really do get to shape and make your reality now. So that old thing with psychics telling you this is going to happen on that day, that's old. That's old, because there is no future that is set in stone. There are future potentials that are brewing.
Yeah, and it doesn't devalue what a psychic will say.
Psychics can be amazing.
Well, and...
well, technically, we are psychics.
Yes.
But we want to give you the tools to get there, so that you can create your own reality. But if you're asking a psychic, if you ask a psychic, is the guy going to come back? You've just given your power away to that psychic.
And the guy.
And the guy. So
there's that.
So enslavement comes from giving your power to an external source.
Right.
Not going inside of yourself, like tweaking, correcting, adjusting your energy to then manifest on command at will.
And I just want to kind of clarify, and I think we clarified this like even in a video a long time ago, right? But because you're a multi-dimensional being, which means basically what that means is you have a full array, like just think like a platter in front of you of different opportunities that you could align with, right? So when you go to, let's say, a psychic, they say, oh yes, this, and this is going to happen, they're tuning into your most probable reality.
Based on where you're vibrating.
Based on where you're vibrating right then. But I love what was it? Was it Men in Black like 2 or 3, or it was like the most recent Men in Black, which is still like old. But there was the guy in there, right, where he sounded like he was talking like a gibberish all day long, and he was like one of the most annoying characters. He had the brain, right? That like I think was exposed. I don't know, this is like so long ago, but I remember it because they would ask him what was going to happen, because he was supposed to be the psychic, right? And so they would be like, okay, well, are they going to show up here, here, or here? And he was like, okay, well, they're going to show up on this date at this time in this particular location. And then he would sort of like kind of stutter on it, right? And then he'd be like, however, if they eat pancakes that day and then they decide to take a left instead of a right, then they're going to show up on this day at that time in that location.
Right.
So you could change... I'm kind of going around about, like because you could change your trajectory based on a different decision. So you go to a psychic and they say this, and this is going to happen, but you wake up the next day and you decide to have pancakes because everybody should, and then you just changed your whole trajectory
and what you
of
do
your future.
What you do have
That's the power of pancakes, people.
And so what you do have control over is your choice. So for me, I'll give you an example.
Pancakes.
If I'm driving and I burn a red light, all right, the chances of me getting stopped by a cop on the spot are minimal. Okay. But what I do is I activate the potential of getting stopped by a car. I've invited that in my energy field.
Okay.
If I burn a red light,
you
burn a red light, yes, you're activating a potential reality that you're activating that reality where you're gonna eventually get pulled over by a cop. All right? If you don't bring awareness to that, then you probably will in a month or two, and then you'll be like, you won't be able to like kind of put two and two together.
That's a good point.
But that's how it works. You activate different realities based upon the vibrations that you emit. But if you go, oh, that was stupid, you automatically reverse it. So that boomerang that you threw out there isn't going to hit you because you just bumped yourself up.
You have to like reprogram it by going into a different frequency that's higher.
Right.
Yeah.
We are multidimensional beings.
Or you could send a beam from your heart, like Care Bear style.
Yes.
This is where you kind of get into like the play aspect. But I've actually done this. There was a cop who pulled me over. Right? I was actually with a friend at a time, and he had like taken a right on a street like you weren't supposed to turn right on red, right? And he just didn't see the sign, and we turned, and there happened to be a cop right there, and sure enough, he pulls over, and the cop like comes up to the window and all that stuff, and he's about to write a ticket. So as soon as the cop decides to go back to his car, I send out this like heart beam, right? That
little galactic,
little
I'm just throwing galactic misses.
Just throwing out heart beams, and I threw it over to the cop gently, and I was just like, "Hey, like it's not really that big of a deal. Like, we didn't really like do anything that bad, right?" And I just kept sending like all this love and energy, and then he comes back and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna let you off with a warning."
Aww.
I know, right? Super sweet.
Well, you can always redeem yourself. Everything is redeemable. Everything is reversible. Life is like an editing program. You can undo, you can copy and paste. Most people copy their past into their present, so they're copy pasting. But we have to start dropping those realities, and we have the choice.
Our old realities are automatically copy and pasting unless we rewrite them.
We have to rewrite the template.
Because they're on the field that's running every single year. It's like the different events that you have. I've explained this once before, I think. The different events that you have during 1 year, let's say, different significant events, and then let's say you get to the next year and you run over that same date again, right? You get a vibrational snapshot of that year of what particularly happened energetically and emotionally, and then the next year that's still in your vibrational field unless you clear it.
Yes.
So now you just experienced something 1 year before on the same date. You're going to end up having the same emotions, right? And wondering like, why is this happening? Like, let's say like a huge breakup. This happens a lot, right? You have a huge breakup and it totally breaks your heart, right? Everybody has experienced that. The next year that goes around, it's usually within 7 days that then that energetic field, that emotional field, even if you're not thinking about it, is in your year blueprint. So until that's cleared out, what would we call that? That's like year decoding or something? I don't know. I'm going to come up with a word for that.
Replicate?
No, you don't want to replicate it because it keeps replicating.
It keeps
every
replicating,
year.
And then you...
So you want to like actually flip...
Right.
Flip's maybe not a good word.
You want to reassign... You want to reassign a new understanding to it.
Yeah.
Or you want
to transmute the energy, the emotion out of that particular event on that particular day. So it's like reprogramming.
Yeah.
But it's like reprogramming within you so that it reprograms the actual year cycle.
And this is something, just to tie it in with the field of consciousness, everything that is present in your current reality right now, your physical experience, is yours. You're responsible for everything that you allow into your field of consciousness. If you have a toxic person in your life, that's yours. If you have drama, that's yours. So we want to start really being responsible for what we allow into our field of consciousness. Your field of consciousness expands way beyond your body. It's probably it's probably patting someone on the back right now that's in China. So your field of consciousness extends way out of the body. All right. And everything that's a part of your field of consciousness is yours. You have to clean that up in every moment of the day and ask yourself, do I want this anymore? Do I want to leave that behind? And what's interesting is when you collapse the old reality, meaning you leave an old reality behind, you automatically converge with a higher version of yourself. So it's a collapse, but at the same time, it's a merging with your higher self. It's kind of like if someone...
For a moment, unless you drop back down again.
It's kind of like if someone crosses your boundaries a lot. Okay. And you're done with that reality. You're like, I'm no longer allowing that in my field of consciousness, no matter what. You drop them. You drop that energy, really.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that very moment,
Lovingly.
you reintegrate into your body the very part of you that you gave away. You bring that power back into your body, and you automatically
call it back in intentionally.
Vibrate higher. You automatically lift into a higher reality. Yeah. So whenever you collapse an old reality, you're also moving into a new one. Automatically.
Whenever you're say that again.
Whenever you collapse an old reality that you no longer want to allow in your field, you automatically move into a new one.
That's quotable.
Good.
Oh my God, how much do you guys love his new logo? That's a quote that needs to go on the new logo. Awesome. Okay, we should probably do another question.
I think we've taken one question so far.
Oh my God, this is supposed to be Soul Circle Q&A. But is this helping? I think we cover lots of questions whenever we go on our tangents. So this is still helpful, right? Like, we try to get much. And then we just start channeling a bunch of stuff. So we're still good? Should we do... Okay.
Thank you guys for saying that.
Yes, and we love you guys. Thanks for joining on Soul Circle. We're building. We're growing.
We're growing.
Tell your friends.
Hey.
Hey. Hey.
Follow this woman.
Hey, follow this brother. Okay, yes, very helpful. Cool. This is interesting. I don't know why I just saw it and I've seen her question before. And this is like almost a super quick answer, but it goes along with what we're saying. How can someone reverse a black magic spell that has been cast on them? Right? So first thing, exactly what we've been talking about. If you're aligning with the possibility of that spell to have an effect on you or your reality, then it will.
It will. Because your beliefs shape your reality.
Yes.
And so if you believe that you'll be broke, you will be broke.
Yes.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that the universe is constantly going to try to wake you up every day, giving you an opportunity to step into service, giving you an opportunity to step into giving. The universe doesn't give up on us. That's because we designed the game.
Yeah.
Why would your higher self give up on you when you designed the game? So whenever you mope and you groan and you kick and you scream, you're just fighting your own design. You're fighting your own game that you freaking designed. You created the damn video game.
You're like, no, I don't want to.
Your higher self is like, but you created it.
No, I don't want to. No, I want to stay under the covers a little longer.
But
I want to stay in this pain. I would like to sub. I don't want to.
I don't want to explore the game that I created. I'm happy at this level.
Does that sound like anybody? I know none of you have ever sounded like that, ever.
Oh my God.
I've never sounded like that yesterday.
Well, I want people, you guys are the universe. You are the universe, but it's a matter of how much light you're embodying. Yeah. There are times where my head blows up and I become the universe and someone walks by me and they don't realize the universe is just exploring a site that it created, but is walking right beside them.
Excuse me, I'm just trying to project the universe out my head here. Could you please move to the other side of the sidewalk?
No, I will literally see myself as the universe in a body.
No, I got it.
And it's insane. And I was like, I'm just visiting my creations. I'm visiting the street that I created. You
guys have to have fun with it.
You do. You have to. Don't take yourself too seriously. But back to the black magic.
Back to the black magic. Back to the serious stuff.
You were saying that if you allow it in your field, it's going to affect you.
Yes. It's like like, what is it? Like, is it juju? What's the, like,
Yeah, juju, I think.
Okay.
Evil eye?
Evil eye, that, yeah. And people wear that even, right? To, like, protect against, you know, evil spirits and all that stuff. And I think it's a beautiful piece of artwork. However, I'm not going to subscribe to the fact that then somebody has the potential to affect me and my field that way. One, because I take full responsibility to anything that happens in my field. Two, if I were to subscribe to that, then I would automatically be putting myself in a victim state. Don't want to do that either. So, and then you make them bad and wrong and villains and all that stuff. So, and we're not picking on you. I hope you feel that, right? Because it's like you're obviously feeling and experiencing something that feels very real for you, but consider the mindset around that where you're then automatically also thinking that that person put that black magic on you, but then you're also giving all the power to them by saying they have the ability to do that to you.
And guess what? It is real.
If
in
you
that
make it real.
Particular dimensional reality
Yes.
is real.
Okay,
Everything
yes.
is true.
Yes.
Everything is true. Everything.
And if you're in that reality,
it's a matter of which dimensions do you want to live in.
Yes. That's a good distinction. I like
right?
that.
So it's like everything exists.
It's happening. It's possible.
Witches in the astral realm exist. Dragons exist. All of this stuff exists.
Totally.
The matter and demons exist. Everything is true.
If angels exist, demons exist.
But it's according to where you're vibrating. Which dimensional reality are you placing yourself in?
Right.
You get to choose. That's what's beautiful. There are multiple infinite dimensions upon us right now.
Yep.
And you have so many choices, and you select one that makes you suffer.
Right.
Why do we do that?
Or brings up fear, because we have amnesia.
Right.
And consider, so I like that you said that a lot, because, so let's say that you were to see something, right? That was a lower dimensional reality. Let's say you saw a demon. Okay? Because that still exists, right? I've seen angels, I've seen demons. And so even if you were able to see something through the veil, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that then you have to align with them having the potential to affect you.
Right.
So just like you're saying, everything is happening because all the different dimensional realities are all layered on top of each other. That's why we
Planet
see
Earth
ghosts.
is a convergence of all those realities. It's the culmination point of all those realities. It's a melting pot. So we're all aliens in a way. We're all a blend of different...
Just gonna say that. I'm like, aliens are totally here.
None of you are human, really. You're a genetic blend. You're hybrids. You're a genetic blend of Pleiades and Orion and all these things. No one's really human, but we're learning how to get along. Right? Okay, I won't go too far.
You guys aren't freaked
out,
out,
for now, let's focus on... all right.
Put it this way.
And take the time to unsubscribe, because most people go into, they throw it in the junk. You're still in avoidance mode. Take the time to go in there and unsubscribe
to your bullshit.
Bring awareness to all the things that you've created, to all the things you signed up on and co-signed on, and take the time to unsubscribe. Don't just throw it in your junk, because it's still there and it's lurking. Go in there and unsubscribe.
You're like, it's in there and it's lurking.
It's lurking.
So on it.
You have to bring all awareness to it. And the other thing is, as long as you talk about the juju or whatever the hocus pocus, you're anchoring yourself into that dimensional reality where you are affected by it.
Right.
So that's where you have to say, no, I love myself too much. I'm going to go in my email and unsubscribe.
To all of it.
Recall my power. This is no longer allowed in my field.
Yep.
Universe, keep it away.
And you have that ability 100%. Because because your physical body, right, is a more dense energy than all of the other, let's call them energies or entities, right? So you technically, by the fact that your body vibrates at a denser energy, right? What your voice and what your, like the vibration of your sound and your thoughts holds a greater punch than anything that then they can either say or do. So know that if anything comes into your field, you have 100% ability and right to say, nope, this is not allowed.
And I like what this person said, unfriend the spirit junk.
Oh.
Unfriend the junk. And block it too. You have to block access to all that stuff.
Nobody wants to be Facebook and Instagram friends with your junk anymore.
Can I say something, you guys? A lot of you tuning in tonight are guardians of the new earth.
Yep.
We do not let things in
Change leaders.
that are going to contaminate anything. The new earth is pristine. She vibrates so high. Her body is beautiful and pristine. But in a way, this is another vision I got the other day.
Roll it.
She's multidimensional. So in a way, we're cleansing her third dimensional body that she's already transcended.
Okay.
We're cleaning the residue. We're cleaning off her body, which is cleaning out the systems within us that we subscribe to, that we're fear-based, that we're unconscious, judgmental, all that separation stuff. So we have to be vigilant as far as being guardians of the new earth. We don't let anything in that is of an older energy. That's not love. That's enablement. We don't let that stuff in anymore. There's no lack in the new earth. There's no lack at all. It's a beautiful place. I walk in it every day. The physical reality that you're experiencing is just a dimension. You can see a couple fighting on the street, and that's so far removed from your reality, and it is because it is. They're in a different timeline. That's because Earth is multidimensional. You get to decide.
We still talking about Earth?
Get to decide which dimension you want to live on within Earth. All the dimensions are here. That's why we have to ascend the physical body.
That's why the new Earth is here already.
It's already here. That's why a lot of you are being forced. All that judgment and all that stuff is being forced out of the body now.
Right.
Because we're all trying to ascend. We're all trying to but a lot of us are already experiencing the new earth, and we all can. It's just a matter of choice and saying no more to the old realities. They're not welcome through the gateways. That's why you're a guardian of new earth. All of you are guardians of the new earth. That's why you're tuning in.
So if you think about it, based on your choices, you're just jumping between the two different earths.
Right.
So when you make higher choices and remove all of your obstacles and release all of those patterns and not be in a space of fear, right?
Yes.
You're then entering in the new earth.
Yes.
But then something could happen, let's say, and then you wake up the next day and then you get amnesia again and you're like, oh, this hurts, and oh, now I'm afraid, and blah, blah, blah. And then for a minute, you go into the old earth. It's like going to the bad neighborhood and like visiting for a little bit, and you're like, this is not cool, like I don't want to be here, and then you need to like go back to home. And
I just want to that's so good. And I just want to someone said get off my planet, demons. I just want to say something. There are no demons on new earth. That's what I want to say. The old 3D earth still has the demons. She's already ascended.
Right, if you're talking about the two different earths. But at the same time, I want to tag on to that and say that everything has a right to exist.
Yes.
Because since we're technically, as long as we're on this planet, creations of the dualistic structure that we live in. And that's just real. So if you're going to look at something and then demonize a demon and say, you know, get out and blah, 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 and you know what I mean, and all that stuff. And it's not saying okay, let me back up. If you're simply saying you're not welcome here, you're not casting it out with hate and villainizing or demonizing. You're just saying
you're reorienting it.
That's a good way.
Reorienting it back so that it can go find its God.
And reorienting you to be into the vibration that those things don't come around as much. But to say that they don't have a right to be here is like saying you don't have a right to be here.
Right.
Because technically everything's on this planet. So that would be like saying that aliens don't have a right to either be here or in the whole galaxy. So it's just getting out of the villainizing and the demonizing, because then that puts you in the victim at the same time. Right. So we just don't want to do that. It's not saying that we're condoning that, you know, that aspect of this dimensional reality.
What it is that there is no lack. So it's no longer, oh, take, I need you, I need this from you. That's all old mentality.
Right.
We don't let that through the gateway. So until the people come correct with a pure intent, with a giving, service, consideration, support, upliftment, compassion, it's not welcome through the gateways.
Give love and compassion to any, let's say, demon or black magic sort of energy that just doesn't feel good. Give love to it and watch it disappear faster than any demonizing or hate energy.
Right.
Because you can't fight the same energy with its energy. It only amplifies that energy of it.
Right. Yes, people have to come correct.
Yeah.
Because we set the parameters. We do set the parameters as to what we allow and what we don't allow. And sometimes you have to block the access of things or to things that are there for the wrong purposes.
You're setting your spiritual standards. That's you're jumping into spiritual sovereignty. right?
Yes.
You're finding your sovereignty, you know, whether you look at sovereignty as the regal side of sovereignty or the independent side of sovereignty, where you're not going to let anything dictate or rule you. It's about being in participation,
Yes.
right? But it's ultimately saying, okay, I am my own sovereign being, and I'm empowered by that. I'm not a victim. I'm not a villain. I don't operate from any programming or patterning, and I am the creator of my own reality
and I'm here
dimension.
to collaborate with you, and
I'm here to
support
exactly.
you, and you support me.
Yes.
They become symbiotic relationships.
Exactly.
They're no longer dysfunctional relationships. Dysfunctional,
And it doesn't mean just independence,
Right.
too, right? Where you then
No, we
create a
need each
connection,
other.
but you find your independence first.
Yes.
And this goes into relationships, too. It's like, find your independence, and then your
Put it this way.
connection.
We can need each other now because
Yeah.
we've proven that we can do it on our own.
Yeah.
We can need each
Yeah.
other now because we've proven to ourselves,
Yeah.
because we're pretty much always trying to be the proof. We're being the example. We're being this. We're being that. And we want to prove to ourselves that we can provide for ourselves, that we can handle obstacle courses, that we can do this, that we can do that. And then we transcend all that separation from within. And then from that unity consciousness, we can come together and help each other.
Because put it this way, if we don't level up our emotional mastery, right, which means anything that happens, you can go within and be like, all right, I can handle this on my own. Let me shift. Does this not feel good? All right, let me shift into what I want.
Let me choose something else.
Let me choose
or
something
let me
else.
unify it from within.
Yeah, that's like the basics, emotional mastery.
Yes.
Right? But taking on that responsibility of emotional mastery, why would more responsibility be given? Right? It's kind of like raising a child, right? When a kid's a kid, like they have tantrums, their emotions are all over the place because they haven't learned how to be in alignment with their own emotions. They haven't learned how to, I don't want to say control, right? Because
Foster,
it's not
maybe?
foster, right? Manage. It's about emotional management. So the majority of society is still also operating from the emotional intelligence level of like anywhere between 5 and 15 because that's where the deepest wounding happened. So once we can then heal that and then heal the inner child and heal ourselves and then gain more emotional mastery, why would more responsibility be given? You wouldn't give responsibility to a child who wasn't ready for it. So the more that we can then do that inner work and get in touch with our own emotional mastery, then the more responsibility and the more up leveling we all get to.
Exactly.
It really comes down to your emotions.
And it comes,
Because your thoughts stem out of your
and
emotions.
it comes down to a form of tough love. I mean, it's like you don't want to just hand things to people, right? Because you want to see them as their fullest version of who they are.
Yeah.
So from that highest standpoint, it's like, hey, you've got to put this work in. And then once you get that in, we can.
It's practicing non-attachment because like we can look at everybody and be like, wow, we can totally see your higher self. That's so badass, right? But then if there's a resistance to being in alignment and each person doing the work to then do that, right, for themselves, then we have to then also, this goes for everybody, right? You have to be able to detach from the expectation that then you believe they should do because you see
A particular outcome.
who they are,
Yeah.
right? We do that in relationships
All
all
the
the
time.
time. You project this vision of who you want them to be, right? And it doesn't always necessarily mean that they're going to show up to be that way because then everybody still has free will.
Yes. So it's all about letting go of attachments that keep you anchored in the lower densities. If you do that, if you let go of all the attachments that
Repatterning,
keep you
reprogramming.
heavy, that keep you dense, and that keep you struggling, all that. When you struggle, when you're stressed, when you're anxious, there's a message that's being delivered to you, and you're not deciphering what that message is.
Yeah.
All right. So whenever you feel bad, just know you have to make a U-turn. There's a wrong turn that you made somewhere.
Your GPS like lost signal for a minute. It's like took you down the wrong path.
And this
now
is
you gotta
something
turn
else
around.
that came this week is like, unfortunately, as humans, we are driven by fear. It takes us getting in a car crash, getting sick to the nth degree
It's called
to
negatively
finally move
motivated,
out of the box of comfort.
Right.
It doesn't need to get to that point. Make the adjustments now. Dissolve those old realities now. Dissolve the fear now.
Be proactive.
Yes.
It's like...
Be an active participant in your healing, in your expansion.
Yes.
Don't wait for everything for the shoe to drop.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden
shit to hit the fan.
Your house
is on fire.
Is on fire, or you get in a crazy
and your
car crash,
relationship
and you're like,
ends,
oh my god, I'm definitely going to Hawaii
car
now.
Breaks down, and then you're like, I'm
never
out.
taking my
out.
life for granted again. And that's what you were supposed to do a year ago, but you put it on hold
Right.
because it wasn't convenient.
You're like, I need a 2-month vacation. I'm done.
Yeah, so start attending to the things that are not convenient right now.
Right.
Don't put a delay on them, because the longer that you delay it, the more that your universe is going to have to collapse it for you.
It's like being proactive. We talk about this in health. Right?
Right.
Do you want to wait until you're this is what the human condition does,
Yes.
right? We wait until we're sick to then have a reason to go to the doctor.
Because we're driven by fear.
Because it's negative motivation.
It's horrible. We don't have to let it get to that point.
But if you could like make sure that you eat right, if you could do all of the things to take care of yourself, then you wouldn't have to get to the chaos point of then everything crashing and burning, or half the things crashing and burning, depending on where you're at, right? So then you have like more to fix.
Yes. I'm in multiple dimensions throughout the day, and I'm still clearing impurities. There's a lot to clear. A lot of old programs we have to clear.
Multiple petals to a rose.
But at least we're doing it. We're dissolving them before your reality collapses it for you.
Yeah.
It hurts like
It
hell
will.
when your universe collapses it for you.
Your higher self likes to hit you over the head with a frying pan. I mean, it's taller than you, remember? So it's like bigger.
So the word is, don't wait till it's convenient.
Yeah.
Take care of it now.
Right.
Take care of it now. Clean it up.
Yeah.
Get it out of that vibrational
And yes,
field.
it's a never-ending process because you're a multidimensional being.
It's never ending.
So if we think like, oh, when is the work going to be over? It's like, but enjoy the journey.